I always wanted to come back to India because whatever said and done, this is our land and we belong here. You can get your green card, you can get your citizenship there, but you can't change your skin color. So that discrimination was very high, is what I felt. There is a famous quote of Einstein which I read recently. Women always worry about things that men forget,
Yes.
and men always worry about the things women remember.
Oh, that is very beautiful and absolutely true. Absolutely true. I would say. Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to my podcast channel, Men's Talk Town. And as you know, that on this show, I invite men from various professions, various backgrounds to understand their perspective about women. And this is primarily to bridge the gap between men and women, the communication gap, so as to create a safe space for men and women both. So here I have a very eminent personality, I would say. And if you have recently seen the movie The Verdict, which is in Tamil language, if I'm correct, and it's released on 30th of May 2025, an amazing movie. And I have here one of the producers with me, Mr. Gopikrishnan ji. Sir, namaste and welcome.
Namaste, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm perfectly fine, and it's such a pleasure to have you on the show.
Same here, ma'am. Thanks for inviting me for this show.
So it's an absolute honor, and thank you for this is Sunday morning. Let me all tell you, and he's agreed to be on the show. So I'm quickly going to introduce Sir Mr. Gropi Krishnan. He has over 35 plus years of experience in field of media and information technology, developing, implementing solutions, managing people, and strategic business development in US and India. Has seen the industry from the eyes of project manager, software consultant, a corporate communication specialist, a marketer, a salesperson, a media consultant, and HR person, to name a few. Prior experience includes exposure in all phases of project lifecycle, ranging from requirement gathering to implementation and support of large volume mission critical applications, encompassing effective communication and excellent PR skills and good record of accomplishment in providing effective solutions to businesses. Highly motivated, result oriented, take charge attitude recognized for ability to direct and motivate others. So finally, his passion for media industry and movies helped in diversifying into media consulting in the past 10 years. Have been offering various types of services to the industry, including but not limited to executive production, budget preparation, shooting expenses, accounting and auditing, online anti-piracy, project liaison, post-production services, etc. That is massive. That's a huge, diverse experience, I would say. So, welcome, sir. And in few lines, if you could quickly, explain why this shift, and then we dive into our topic. Like, how did you shift from being a software person to the media industry?
Well, that's a quick question that you asked, but I have a very long answer to.
Okay.
I've always been interested in media right from my childhood. Like I watch a lot of films, and I've been part of several organizations which was into film appreciations, all the clubs, and I was also part of the Chennai International Film Festival, and I'm still doing an active role there. So with all these, I wanted to get into films, but as you know, I come from a typical Tambram background, and I was never allowed to see that side of the profession as a permanent one for me. So they were always against it. And until I was 48 or 47, I guess, when my wife was gracefully agreed to permit me to do whatever I want at the age of 48. That is when I really moved into media. Ever since I got into media, when I moved back from the US, I was lucky enough to work with Mr. Rajinikanth's house as a strategic consultant to his wife's school and his daughter's animation company called Upper Studios. So with that, I was able to quickly find my place in that industry because I was associated with the power center of film industry, Mr. Rajinikanth, and I almost got to meet all people there. I didn't have to go and search for my clients. They walked into my office and they were talking about many things that gave me I should say, the courage to start something which was to do with the films, starting from curating projects for potential producers, then starting into executive production. Then I started doing a web series for Applause Entertainment in Bombay. And as recently as last year, we did a film in US, which is called The Verdict, which got released last month, which was shot in 23 days in US completely, which made me proud that I can also do something so drastically and dramatically. And that's about it. And there has been no looking back in terms of what and who I am in the industry today.
Thank you for sharing that. And I think that gets me to the point that there is no age or there is no time to follow your passion. It is
Absolutely, absolutely.
whenever and wherever and as you can. So just keep at it, I believe, and one day you will find your dream or passion.
I'm looking forward to that day, ma'am.
So that is so beautiful, and thank you for sharing that because I think it would inspire a lot of people who probably think, oh, now I'm 30, now I'm 35. People at the age of even 35 say, now I'm old. So
So true,
what
so true.
so I think that would be a great inspiration because
I am 61 today.
oh, then you don't
Okay,
then you don't
so so I don't want to call myself old, but I don't mind accepting my age.
right. So
In a forum like this, where I know that a lot of people across the globe are going to watch it, I can proudly say I'm 61, and I have no regrets about my age. As you rightly said, age is just a number, and I still have a long way to go and achieve a lot of things.
absolutely aging gracefully, and we say that even now in KBC we still look forward to Amitabh Bachchan ji hosting the show.
Yeah,
So
true, true.
that's
Way back in 2014, I was diagnosed with deadly disease called Parkinson's. I don't want to call it a deadly disease. Most people think it is a deadly disease, and I'm here to tell you it is not. And this happened one fine afternoon when I came home to have my lunch. When I was trying to eat my food, unfortunately, I couldn't hold the rice in my hand for a long time, and I started crying. My wife got worried, and she called my brother, who is also a doctor, and he said maybe we are treating the wrong symptoms because I had a L3, L4 problem for my ortho, and I used to take his opinion on how to cure that. I thought it was that, and that's why I was recommending an ortho to you. Now looks like from what you define, it is more a neuro problem. Let's go take a look at a neuro. Then I went to him. The moment I walked into his room, he said, "I know what you have." I said, "What do I have?" He said, "Parkinson's early stages." I got completely devastated by that statement, and I wanted to protect my wife as well, who was with me. So I said, "Are you sure?" He said, "No, I'm sure. If you're not sure, let's take all the tests." And I got all the tests done. And when I went back with him with the reports, he said, "I know, I told you the same thing. It's only Parkinson's." I thought, hell, let loose, it fell on my head. The next 15 to 20 minutes, I didn't know what to do because my wife was crying on the one side. So I said, "Come down, let's go." And I sat in the car. We did not speak a single word. We drove all the way to Mahabalipuram, which was like 45 kilometers from where I live. So we drove all the way, not a single word being spoken in the car. The moment I reached the hotel, I ordered a coffee and ordered one for her as well. And I said, "What do we do now?" That was the first statement. Because I had two sons, grown up kids, who I had to be informing them about this. And we took a conscious decision as to how to put it across to them, and we did that. Until then, we didn't utter a word between the two of us. And a month before, I got my surgery done. It was a it was called deep brain stimulation, where they insert uh, laser hole and insert two electrode chips or whatever, which is connected to the pacemaker kind of an equipment battery here, which sends electrical signals to make the brain react the way it should react. Earlier it was a little slow, so I become very slow in the mornings. I can't even walk properly in the mornings, and even to take a shower and get out of my shower and get ready and leave, it used to take about an hour, hour and a half. But after the surgery, touch wood, that thing has come down to 10 minutes now, thanks to the surgery and the doctors who are performing the surgery on me. And I am also used to taking motivational classes to people from different colleges and schools. So what I do is I have a story which talks about myself and my career spanning 35 years. In that, I tell them very clearly, when they see my showreel, they see a lot of these celebrities, Kamala and Rajinikanth and all those people, and they start clapping, applauding me. I said, "I didn't do this showreel to get an applause from you. I want you to look beyond this and tell me what you feel." And I play a video of myself having this tremors and all that. After walking in the stage for a few minutes, I ask them, "Do you see anything wrong with me?" They say no. Then I play this video. They all feel so bad for me and they say, "What happened to you, sir?" Then I tell them I had Parkinson's and I fought it over. And today I can proudly say I had Parkinson's. So I'll be more than happy to be an ambassador to my doctor and, you know, create the right kind of awareness about Parkinson's as well.
So that's a wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. So now we dive straight into our topic of today's discussion about women perspective. So the first thing, like, who are the women in your life, and how do you encourage them?
Who are the women in my life? That's a very interesting question. There are a lot of women in my life, of course. There's only one which takes a major share, which is my wife. Just to give a background about her, she's a language trainer and she's into English language teaching, and she's also a counselor, I should say. She counsels a lot of people who have problems. She's not a typical qualified counselor, but she naturally has that instinct in her, and she keeps counseling people and giving them the right choice of approach to life. So that is something about her, and she has been doing a fabulous job on that, to the extent of me saying, "You don't you ever stop talking."
Right, right.
And she takes it in the right spirit. That is my biggest, what should I say, gift from her side. That she takes my comments in the right spirit and she doesn't get insulted or humiliated by it. Because both of us approach life very, very in a fashion where we want to contribute a lot to the society. There are a lot of common elements between me and my wife, which keeps us going for 35 years now. And I have a couple of good friends who have motivated me and drawn me to this extent. To name somebody who studied with me in NIT in 1985, Miss Geeta, who currently lives in Chennai. She was also in the US for a long time. She was I should say, my first friend from the other gender, who taught me how to speak, how to walk, how to talk to women, how to respect them. All that I heard, I got it from her, and I always thank her for what she has done to me and my personality. And the other person who I can never forget is my grandma, who at the age of 75 used to tell me, learn to respect women. That is, although she was a male chauvinist herself, she will always say, men are always right. Women have bad qualities in them. That is what I kept hearing all my
Mm-hmm.
childhood. But that gave me a lot of perspective about women, and I tried, really started treating them the way they should be treated. Okay, I have great respect for women, and I till date maintain that. I can proudly say I have more of girlfriends than men. And unfortunately or fortunately, my name happens to be Gopikrishna.
Oh yes.
So people mock at me all the time. What your grandfather named you right as Gopikrishna. You are always seen amidst girls and women. So
That,
that's about me.
yeah, that's a wonderful coincidence.
My mom is another person who influenced me. There are a couple of others who have played a major role in terms of teaching me what life is all about. And we are five brothers at home. We have no sisters, so whoever comes into our family is treated as a girl of the family. All of us are married now, happily married, and we all treat our sisters-in-law as our own sisters. So giving respect is one way of empowering them, I guess, to start with. And I've always told my wife, if you have a conflict with your mother, what do? You go and fight with her. The same way, if you have conflict with my mother, don't bring the problem to me. This was the first statement I made at the time of marriage. And she said, yes, I will never bring it to your attention. And till my mother died, she had been following that and she was handling it the way she would have. Of course, she has her own discomfort zones, which my mother had a lot of discomfort zones, which she gracefully handled, I would say. Now, after my mother is gone, she regrets that she starts saying, I miss her a lot, which I think is empowering the person who has been part of my life to treat other women properly.
I think yes, that's a journey, and it's way people handle it. But that's really
Yeah, yeah,
great that you shared. You, as you mentioned, your name Gopi Krishnan, and we have Krishna Janmashtami just coming up in few
yeah,
days also. So just one thought that comes to my mind, like you have worked in US as well, right? You worked in US.
yeah.
You've been there for quite some time. So, what is the
Uh-huh.
culture difference you find vis-a-vis but towards women when you see in India or abroad, or maybe you must have traveled across the world as well. So, how do you see that, or what can be changed for better?
See, we all think that the Western countries are much better than India. but it's not true. I've seen the other side of the Western culture, meaning I've seen the most downtrodden and poorest of Americans. They're the way they treat their respective spouses, and in general how America treats other races. There's a lot of racial discrimination there, which people don't realize at the very beginning. Initially, we all get carried away by the cars and the fancy stuff that we are able to afford in the very first month of our salary. But only after a few years, you realize that all this was for a reason. And we are treated really badly there. If you really think about it, there is racial discrimination all through. And if at all somebody decides to stay there, it is their choice. I don't question their intentions. But I didn't want to stay there for this reason. I always wanted to come back to India because whatever said and done, this is our land and we belong here. You can get your green card, you can get your citizenship there, but you can't change your skin color. So that discrimination was very high, is what I felt. And that is what made me move back to India. Of course, my passion for cinema media was there to pull me here. But barring that, this was one major reason why I came back to India.
Do you find that difference of treating women in terms of, if we sit in talks, if we talk in terms of human or people, like men are there, men are here. So how is it any distinct difference do you notice, or how is it?
See, I've known of a lot because I was in the HR. I get to meet a lot of people, interviewing them, hiring them for my company, and all that. So when I talk to a lot of men and women, one thing I found out is domestic violence is not only prevalent here; it is prevalent there as well. In a larger sense, I would say the percentage could even be more there compared to here. Here we talk about a huge country with 1.2 billion people, or maybe more. Since it's a smaller country, if you compare numbers, it might be low. But if you talk in terms of absolute percentages, I think they'll be much higher there. And it was hard to believe that a country of that stature still has these rooted problems. There is no violence against women. Men and women are treated equally. All that is a myth, I would say.
So it's not that because they are just foreign countries and the things don't change.
Yeah, I think that is our assumption about them. Sorry to be so blunt about this statement of mine, but I had to bring it up somewhere at some forum.
No, that's much required. In fact, it is just yesterday I saw in one of the news. I'm not sure how authentic it is, but in France and other places, like they have major domestic violence against women, and one of the insurance
Right.
company have done this, that they have added along with fire and disaster, natural disaster, and domestic violence. They've added in their insurance to protect women.
Insurance.
Yes, to protect
Yeah, I
women.
read about it too. Yeah.
Yes, so to protect women against domestic violence, and they can come and get this.
See, on the same note, such laws should not be abused by women as well. Because today, most of the marriages don't last for more than a year or two for this reason. Because women, whatever women say becomes the gospel truth, and whatever men try to defend their case becomes
Yes,
the world's biggest lie. So I think that should change also. I'm not trying to defend all men here, but they should be given a fair chance.
I think you brought out an extremely important point here. What you said is a very very major statement, because this thing is of late heard or seen a lot, that when it comes to giving the alimony, the women get divorced, they get all the money, the major chunk, and that is what fear has created a fear in men too. And we recently had these incidences of men getting killed post marriage, men committing suicide on social media because of marriage
Right.
trouble. That is very disturbing. So you heard few statements, or I heard in comments that, oh, just few men are now suffering, so the suffering of women, since the ages, it doesn't get counted or what. But I think it's not like that. That it could
Yeah, every life counts, and we can't be insensitive to such.
absolutely.
You can't say after all one life out of 200. That's not the comparison. Whether it's one life or 10 lives, it doesn't matter. It's a life.
And that too, again, now it is coming out in social media, so we really don't know what is in the background. So I think that's a very very major statement you, or rather point you raised, I would say. How even the law has loopholes, where in a divorce case probably, or in a men versus women case, a lot of laws is towards women. So that probably needs to be relooked or maybe balanced rather, and a proper.
And it might be a very strong statement to make, but I personally feel that the tolerance level is going down with women more than men. Is it a fair statement to make? I don't know. I'm talking from my experience and dealing with people whom I know in my circles. If you really probe into their domestic issues and problems that they have, which have led them to a divorce, most of the time I feel that the women was less tolerant than the men. At least the 10 or 12 cases whom I know pretty well. I know both partners very well.
Mhm.
And when they decide to go for a divorce, it's really shocking for me because I always thought they will pull it along differently. But unfortunately, no. The divorce count is increasing by the day, by the minute, and there is no solid reason. I've been living with my wife for 35 years. There were fights, there were quarrels, there were very many things that happened in our lives, which could have, if I were in today's situation, today's gender, I was a Gen Z kid, I would have probably chosen a divorce 32 years ago or 31 years ago. But our value systems were different in those days. We have a give and take relationship. That is what we were all taught. And today, no girl wants to get married. No girl wants to commit themselves for a wedding or a responsibility like that. They prefer to live together. I'm not saying it's wrong or right. I'm not getting into the right or wrong side of it. I'm only saying these are all their preferences. And if you look at closely into this, you will conclude saying nobody wants to take responsibility or accountability of the relationship. Correct?
Yes, yes.
Be it men or women, they don't. Boys have started pushing their marriage age to 35, 40 now. Women say, "Why should I get married at 21?" I don't know where this is going to lead to.
So again, I believe you've spoken a very, very strong word in the sense which is required in today's world value system. What you mentioned. Because why I am thinking about this is it's making me more, getting into the topic because times have changed. Now, when you speak to a female, they would say, "Oh, we are educated, we are now earning financially, and we don't want to
Right.
be dependent, and we cannot go like this." So, with that tolerance level, when you mentioned, now what is the measurement of being tolerant, or what is the that criteria for men and women to be tolerant towards each other? So now
Yeah, yeah.
there has been also a movie called Thappad, if you remember. It's in Hindi. It's a Tapsi Pannu movie. So that is again that kind of system is there.
Yeah, it needs a panel to discuss this topic, just not the two of us.
Absolutely, no, absolutely, I agree. Because when times change, when things change, thought process change. So as you correctly mentioned that had you been in a Gen Z format today, you
Yeah.
would have uh, thought differently. So yes, we all evolve, and how do we decide that right or wrong? If you talk to them, they would say that if I'm equally earning, if I'm equally capable, then why am I supposed to be, listen? Or
Uh-huh.
then when that definition of, again, as I mentioned, tolerant, the word you mentioned, is very, very critical here, because how then they are going to say that, okay, I'm tolerant to this level, or he will say, okay, I am taking a lot. So here, I believe the two people's perspective, their beliefs, their values, their own decision, and their because each individual is different, how much one can take, or what is the purpose, what are their dreams, where they want to go ahead in life, matters. Everything comes into picture. So it's extremely, I think, basic, or rather a basic but very strong point you have
Right.
mentioned today in this conversation, that this needs a deeper thinking and definitely a discussion. So whenever going ahead,
Sure.
I'm going to have a
I'd love
panel
to participate
for
in
this
that as
show.
well.
And I'll definitely try and get you on board, because how this thing works and what people think, what today's generation think. Because if it is just leading to some kind of negativity or too much false relationships, then what is the use? So that I think is a extremely important point you brought out. So thank you for that. One more thing just crossed my mind when you mentioned that you have five brothers and no sister. So generally it happens that the men or the boys who are grown up, with a no female or no sister kind of scenario, they have a
Right.
different
Right.
thought towards
Right.
female, and because it comes naturally. If you have a sister, you'll be more protective, you'll understand, oh, she goes through this, she goes through that, no boy should tease her, and all those things.
I think it has got something to do with our upbringing as well. We've always been taught to respect women, and which led us to treating women like more like in a protective manner than anything else. I was talking about this Geeta who changed my life. I still remember one incident. On we were studying in
Right.
NIT at that point in time, and on one particular day there was suddenly
Mm-hmm.
the closure of institute on that particular day because Indira Gandhi was assassinated that day. So there were no cell phones, no phones. All the buses stopped midway. I had a bike and I was so hesitant to approach this girl, Geeta, who was walking up and down, not finding a bus or a auto rickshaw to travel back home. But I knew that she was living in the same area, Annanagar, where I used to live, because we used to take the same bus on regular days. Fortunately, I had a two-wheeler that day I brought in. So with great hesitation, I approached her and I said, "Do you want a ride back home?" She said yes. When I asked her to sit in the pillion, I literally sat on the petrol tank because I didn't want her to think that I'm trying to touch her or feel her or anything. I'm reminded of one of A.R. Rahman's statement that how is he so forthcoming and God fearing even at this stage. That interviewer anchor was talking about his humility in general, for which his answer was, I always had two choices. I can take the good side or the bad side, and I always chose the good path, is what he said. That is strongly hit in my system, I guess. When we had a choice, we always chose the right path than the wrong path. That helped us to treat all women alike and treat them as sisters. And we still get a lot of Raksha Bandhans every year.
That's wonderful. That's really great. I think the best part is implementation, because no parent would teach that you should not respect women, or
I've seen my own dad and grandfather, the way they treat women and all that. That was a lesson for ourselves to see and treat women most respectfully. And we till date we follow that. I don't know if my wife will agree to that. Just kidding.
we
But
try. So
see, you can't take everything very seriously in life. Also, sometimes we have to joke
absolutely,
and make a smile out of every situation.
absolutely.
And some women get offended by that. I've seen a lot of women getting offended by that
Yes.
fact because we are wired differently, ma'am. Men are wired differently, women are wired differently. There is a famous quote of Einstein which I read
Mhm.
recently. Women always worry about things that men forget,
Yes.
and men always worry about the things women remember.
Oh, that is very beautiful and absolutely true. Absolutely true. I would say.
And you must have read the famous book Why Men Can't Listen and Women Can't Drive. That is such a
Yes.
beautiful book, ma'am.
Yes.
I enjoyed every bit of reading it.
I think from your conversation, I always would say that Gita actually shows marga, or direction to everyone.
Yeah,
Okay. I mean
everybody.
Gita as in Gita also, and
Gita, Bhagavad
Gita
Gita,
also. So
right.
yes, that's a dual thing. But again, I feel that's about two things. One is no parents would teach ill to their children. However, as you correctly mentioned, it is more of observation. As we say that as children, people they observe what their parents do or what their elders do. So if you are just saying it for the sake of it, that respect women and don't insult them or X Y Z, but in your real life you're not behaving the same, the kids are going to see and follow that. So that's very very evident.
See, some days my son, my second son who lives in the US, when we raise our voice between the two of us, between me and my wife, he stops and says, no, "Pa, don't raise your voice." Even at this age, I have to listen to him because what he says is true. Sometimes, without my knowledge, when I raise my voice, gives others an impression that I'm trying to overpower her. That's not the case. But when he observes that and says that, I have to listen to him because from his perspective, I'm creating a quarrel and fighting with my wife. He wants to protect his mom.
Yes.
That's very
Yes, it perspective matters, or thoughts matter, and how you see that thing. So you being from this particular, as we say, cinema industry, media industry, how do you see this place and what do you observe in particular? Because as a layman, and me, if I say, or my friends, and whenever it's spoken, the first thing they would say, oh, stay clear of it, stay away from it. And you know, there will be certain tags with it. So how do you,
Tags.
yes,
Yeah.
how do you see being an inside?
No, luckily for me, when I entered the field, I think things have come to almost normalcy. Maybe it was true in those days that women were all exploited and they were not treated well and all that stuff. But today, the industry has matured so well that everybody is treated with respect. At least I make sure that I treat everybody with respect.
Right. So any
At least if I can be and set an example to others, I'll be more than happy to do it.
thank you for that. And I think so that message is loud and clear. I think from your end also for all the women out there who would like to be part of the industry, they are most welcome. And I think they would get a fair treatment as well. So moving towards our end of our conversation, one just thing that pops into my mind when you see this scenario, what do you think when we say that equal men and women are equal? Then in what terms and how do you see the state?
See, as I was mentioning, we run a charitable trust called NAM Charitable Trust, which focuses on single women. Upliftment of empowering single women is our core, where we use three E's: engage, empowerment, and excellence. Most women there are either widows or acid victims. These are the kind of people we enroll in our foundation. I believe Suhasini ma'am once read some article where she read about only 45 or less than 45% of the single women who die have natural death. The remaining substantial percentage, they die of either suicide or killing themselves in some form. It's never a natural death. Either they are killed by the relatives or whatever. It's not a natural death,
And domestic
domestic
violence.
violence or anything.
Yeah.
So she took that as a challenge and she wanted to encourage single women, and whatever they have missed in life, we thought we'll provide them. A widowed woman is never allowed to light the lamp. We always call them to the
Yes.
forefront and ask them to do the needful. So things like little things like that. Plus we educate them. We have churned out close to about 50 first generation graduates or engineers so far in the last 15 years. Plus, of course, we provide them
That is
with medical
amazing.
benefits and all that. But yet, we can't say that we have been very, very successful in terms of changing their mindset. They all come with a mindset that nobody treats us as, even if it's not true, they have a hallucination. The moment they become a widow or a single person living alone, they think the entire world is looking upon them, trying to abuse them or whatever. So there are women who come and tell us. We have some coaches who talk to them regularly and make sure that they don't go into depression and all that. So when we talk to them,
Right.
most of the times we realize that they are cooking up a story. So we tell them, come out of your hallucination, tell me the truth, what is happening. And then they are all right. After talking to them for a few sessions, they say, maybe you are right, I'll change my attitude.
Okay, so that also happens. That's something new. So could you just repeat the name of your
It's called
organization,
NAM
please?
Charitable Trust. NAM, NAAM. NAM means we. Nan is my. So we together can change the society. Nam means we. We is the power. NAAM.
So yes, whoever wants to check it out can do that as well. Anything else like you would like to add and then about our topic or any specific message you would like to give to probably men from your end?
Ask them to be more tolerant, to make life more smoother and happier for them. I'm not trying to abuse or degrade women here, but I'm saying, as I said, men are wired differently, women are wired differently. Sometimes what we mean as a joke is taken very seriously. Sometimes the other way
Yes.
also. When we talk something seriously, they
Yes.
jokingly walk out, which irritates the man as well. In fact, I once told Mrs. Suhasini that just as we have an organization for women, we should also have an
Mhm.
organization for single men.
Men,
They go through a lot
yes,
of difficult
absolutely,
times as well.
absolutely,
And
absolutely. So,
even for a divorced set of people, getting married for a man is all the more difficult than getting married by a woman. So this is a huge topic. I don't think we can cover it in 30 minutes. I'm sure you will agree with me on that.
Absolutely. I think lot of
Some of
insight.
my statements would have not been taken too well by you as well, I guess.
I don't think so. I found any of them very offensive or anything.
I'm glad.
It's fact. It's fact. And I think we all need to be open to discuss that, even if it's, as we say, agree to disagree.
I
So
wish
that is
all
much
men and women
required.
do that. Life will be more peaceful.
Because it's not just about getting angry and, oh, why did you say this, why did you say that, because again everyone will have their own perspectives, and what is right and what is wrong, who decides? As long as both the parties are respected, both get their share, I think that is good enough. But some of the very important points you have brought out, be it the value systems, be it the beliefs, be it behaviors, or how women are treated and how even women see these things, all these are very important. And very correctly you said that it cannot be discussed in maybe a very short span. It is going to need a repeat, or maybe a continuous
Continuous. Maybe a longer
discussion.
discussion can run to a
Yes,
few
yes,
sessions
certainly.
also.
Absolutely. And also, I am planning for a panel discussion soon, so that both the sides are, there.
Represented well.
And yes, yes. So that is upcoming, definitely.
Sure, sure.
But
Look
I'm
forward to it.
so glad that you found time to be here on the show. And I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Ram Prasad Srinivasan Garu, who
He was my
made this
best
happen.
friend in my wedding. I know him that long.
Yes, yes. So he did spoke, much about you, very highly about you, and I think it happened finally. So
Thank you
thank you
so
so
much.
much.
Thank you so much,
Thanks.
Sonali.
Yes, absolutely. It's a pleasure,
And
and
thanks for
I think we
inviting me
shared a
to
lot
this
of
show.
insight.
I really enjoyed talking to you on this topic. Wish you good luck with all your
Thank
future
you.
interviews as well.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Thanks a lot.